Hi divas, and welcome to another custom makeup tutorial in Dress to Impress. Today I'm going to be sharing 10 must-have faces for the Valentine's Day update. I made 5 human faces and 5 fantasy faces to share with you. But if you want an in-depth tutorial on how to use custom makeup, all of my favorite items and tips and tricks, and my entire process, I made an ultimate guide on my channel already, so I'm gonna link that for you as well. But if you're excited for this tutorial, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And now let's get started. Before we get started though, I need to tell you that some of the items that I'm using are from the purchasable custom makeup pack, which if you haven't gotten it yet or you don't know where to get it, you need to go over here and then in this section, and the makeup pack is over here for 1500 currency, which is honestly really not that much because it's really worth it. You get all of these beautiful eyeshadows which you can use for so many different looks. But now let's actually get started, and I'm gonna start with our human faces first. So let's start with this one, and this is the skin that I used for that one. I used these eyes in this color. For eyebrows, I went with these in this color. I just wanted to make this face like really sweet and fresh and versatile. I like having these like normal human faces that you can use for pretty much any theme. But for the lips, I went with these, and this is not the actual skin color. I've noticed a bit of a bug where it's not showing me specifically lip colors, so I will have to kind of guess this one for you. It was somewhere around here, let's say, so this will be the skin color. I usually go around this range to make those like really natural looking lips. For the blush, I used this one in this color, and then here we have a lot more going on than it actually looks because the face is just so clean. But in the other category, I used the highlight, this lighter one, in this color. Then we have a blush, this very last one, in pure white, and in the skin category we have these freckles over here in pure white again, and then these spots right underneath them in white as well. And lastly we have a nose, which is this first one in white again. Now let's move on to this face over here, and this is the skin that I used for it. For this one I used the eyes that came with the, I believe, Christmas update, but I mostly focused on the new items, but I wanted to include some of the old ones just to kind of see if they work well together. And here for the lips I used these, but the color was somewhere around here, I believe, so this is approximately the color. It's very unfortunate that the lip colors are not working for this tutorial. I'm so sorry. But moving on to blush, I used this first one in this color, and then in the last category we have a nose, which is this one in this color. Then we have an eyeshadow, which is this, I believe, reworked one in this color. Then we're moving on to blush, which is this very last one in this color. I think I used it for most of my faces today because it is one of my absolute favorites. You might know this from my in-depth custom makeup tutorial. But lastly here we are going to skin, and we are using these freckles in pure white. You can't really see them on this face, but that's what I wanted to go for. It looks more like pores or just skin texture. It just makes it look a little bit more realistic. Now let's move on to our next face, which is going to be this one in this skin color. Here I used these eyes in this color. Moving on to eyebrows, which are these quite gentle eyebrows in black. Then we have the lips, which are one of the new lips right here, and the color of them is actually, I believe, white actually for once. And then on the blush I also used this, I think, new blush on pretty much all of them in this color. And in the last category we only have a nose, which is this one over here in this color, and the blush, which is again this very last one in this color. Let's move on to our next face, which is this one. So this is the skin color for it. I used these eyes, which are, I think, my favorite eyes from the update, in this color. Then we have these cute eyebrows again in this color, and here I used the lips that we had already, and the color was approximately somewhere around here, I believe, so let's go for this color. Again I used this new blush in this color, and in this last category let's go to other, because I used this highlight in this color. Then we have some eyeshadow, which was this one in this color. In the skin category I used the freckles again in this color, although you can use pretty much any color, it just happens to be bright red, but that's kind of unnecessary. And lastly in the nose I used this nose in this this color. And let's move on to our final human face, which is this one, kind of similar to the previous one, just a bit of variation in there. So this is the skin color, and I used those same eyes, but this time in this lovely green shade. Then we have these eyebrows, which I really love. They look so realistic in this color. And we have these amazing lips that everyone loves, and they were somewhere around this more like orangey color, somewhere around there, I believe. So let's just say it's this color. Next up, I used this highlight over here in this color. And in the last category, again, just like the very first face that I showed you, I think, we have a lot going on, although you wouldn't really be able to tell because the face is just so simple. But first, let's go in the other category. And again, I used this highlight in this color. Moving on to noses, we have this nose in this color. Then in the skin category, I used these freckles in this color. Then we're going to the blush, and I actually used two blushes for this one. So the first one is this one over here in pure white. I don't know why the custom makeup is just getting mad at me. It's getting hard to show you colors. It's just getting weird. But okay, I also went with this one in white, and lastly this eyeshadow over here in this color. And now we're moving on to a very exciting portion of the video, because I know that a lot of you really want to learn how to make non-human faces. So let's start with this very cutesy one, and the skin color that I used for this one is over here. The eyes that I went for are these in this color. I don't really have necessarily a specific plan for this face. It's just like a really cutesy one. You could make some kind of cute fairy, you could try to make some kind of cutesy cupid. That's really up to you. But the lip color, let me see, that was mostly, I think, this color. So just right here on the palette. For the blush, I used this one in white. And then in the last category, where most of the fun is, let's see that. So I went with this heart. You can find it here in the other, and it's over here. And I used that one in pure white. Then we're going into eyeshadow, and I used one of the new ones from that purchasable pack, which is this one over here. And I also made that one be white. Now moving on to blush, I used this one over here, again in white, because all of these are very pink, so they actually just do look pink on the face when you make them white. Then let's go to a nose. I used this cute little nose over here, which was again in white. Then we're gonna go in the other category for these little gems over here, which are also in white because they're just pink by default. And lastly, we have another blush, which is this one over here in pure white again. Now let's move on to our next face, which is this one. Again, I didn't really have necessarily a plan for this one. I just made something fun. So this is the skin color, and here I went with these reworked closed eyes, which are in this color. It could really be any color, it doesn't really matter for this. Next up, I went with these eyebrows in black. You could go for pretty much any eyebrow type. Maybe you could go for these if you wanted a bit of a more fantasy look. I just kind of went with more like a human one just because, but these actually fit really nicely as well. For the lips, I went with these, and again, I have to guess the lip color, which was this one over here on the palette, and I just made it a little bit brighter. For the blush, I used this one over here in white. And now finally in this last category, I used these little kisses, which you can find in the other category, and they were in this color. Then moving on to eyeshadow, I used again eyeshadow from the new pack, which is this one over here in this color, and I combined it with this reworked eyeshadow in white just to kind of get that highlight in there. Next up, we have a nose, which is this one in white again. Then we're gonna go in the other category where I used this little heart, which is in black. And lastly, again in the other category, we have these little details here, little hearts, which are also in black. Now let's move on to this face. It's a very exciting one. So the skin color that I use here is over here. I didn't use any eyes on this one. Most of this is in this last category, but the eyebrows are the ones that I just showed you in the last look, and they're in this color. Then moving on to lips, I used these new lips in, I believe this was the base color, and then I just made them a little bit more pink, so that is approximately the color. In the blush category, I went with this blush in white, and then in this last one we have everything going on. So we're gonna go in the skin section. So the first vitiligo is this one over here, and that is in this color. And then this second one is this one over here in this color. And the last one is in this color. Now let's go to eyeshadow. And I started with this one over here from the new pack, which is in this color. And then we're going to the other eyeshadow, which is in this color. And lastly, the nose is this one over here in this color. I think that this is one of my favorite faces that I made recently. It's just so interesting. Let's move on to this face over here. I made this one in a video really quickly for a theme, but I updated it since because it just needed a bit of something more to it, and now I like it even more. So let's get started with this one. This is the skin that I used, and again we have no eyes on this one. For the eyebrows, we actually do not have any eyebrows on this either. For the lips, I used these new ones in pure black. In the blush category, I used this one in this color just to kind of give it a bit of highlights. And in the last category, let's go to skin to check out this vitiligo in this color. Then we're gonna go to eyeshadows. I started with this one in pure black. Then I moved on to this one in this color, and this one over here in this same color again. And then lastly, I added this one in white. And then we also just have this nose over here in this color again. And now finally, the final face that I made, which I also made in a video, but I have updated it slightly. So this is the skin that I used for it. And we have these eyes over here in black. Then we have these eyebrows over here in black as well. And then we have these lips over here, which are, I believe, just in this color, pretty much exactly. Next up in the blush category, I actually haven't used anything, but you could add some blush if you wanted to. I just left this to be super clean because it's supposed to be a cracked porcelain doll. And in this final category, I went in other to put this big crack on the face, which is in just a random color because this doesn't matter really. Same thing goes for these stitches over here. That's just in white, but again, it doesn't really matter. Then in this same category, we have these heart eyes, which are in this color. Then we have a nose, which is this first one over here in white. And finally, we have this ribbon on the face, which is in the eyeshadow category, and it's in this color. So those are all the faces that I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed them. I'm so sorry that some bits of the tutorial, like the lip color and some little things about the last category, were a bit scruffed. I'm not sure why the bugs are happening, but of course they're happening when I'm doing a tutorial. But I hope that you didn't mind, that everything was clear. If you have any further questions, definitely let me know in the comments. And if you would like to see any more tutorials like this, definitely let me know because I really enjoyed making them. And I hope that you loved all of these faces and that you'll be using them in your game as well. Let me know if you have any ideas which themes these could be used for. I'm actually really curious because I usually make faces without a plan, to be honest. But if you liked any of the faces and you'll be recreating them in your game, let me know by giving this video a like. That would help me so much. Subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any future tutorials, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!